Welcome to the audio excerpts of special seminars and conversations with Nolan Narula on gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
So has it ever happened that one person who's descended has remembered only towards the end of his life, and in fact she has not fulfilled his purpose of assisting the divine, and he's only remembered it like say only 70, 80 minutes time for him to go back?
Yeah, so then he gets another chance. We had this case with Ajamil. It's given there in the Bhagavatam of Ajamil the Brahmin, who was following very nicely, and then he lost his mind and senses because he met a prostitute in the forest one day when he was coming home. And then he ran off with her. He gave up his old parents, he gave up his wife and children. They died miserably, cursing him. And he lived with this prostitute for many years, had a son when he was in his 70s, and he named him Narayan. And then at the point of death, when he was around 80 years old, or maybe he had the son around 80, so when he was dying, there was nobody at home except Narayan, his son, 5-year-old son, playing in the Yangan. And the Yamduts came to capture him. And so he got so frightened, he just yelled for his son, Narayan, Narayan. And immediately the Vishnu Doots arrived. And they stopped the Yamduts. You cannot take this man. So he said, why? He said, because this man chanted the name of the Lord, at this time, at this crucial time, so he's no more your case. So they said, but he was calling his son. He said, no matter he was calling his son, but he said it in a pure frame of consciousness. So in that pure frame of consciousness, he uttered the name of the divine purely. Done. Once. You do it and you're home. So that's the example of Ajamil. So when you're talking about 80 years old, well, Ajamil was around 80 at that time.
In the Kali Yuga also, so?
Yeah, everything. But the thing is, we chant so casually, we do not chant purely, we are motivated. If you look at your own healing, what is your connection? If you read today's thought, it is that basically you are motivated to use healing to do your work throughout the day, because most of your activities are livelihood oriented or social oriented or profession or occupation oriented.
Welcome
And
to the audio
healing is
excerpts
receding
of
to the
special
background.
seminars
You're
and
using that as a
conversations
tool
with
really
Nolan
to progress these
Narula on
things. You're not really thinking about where healing is
gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
ultimately going to get. And that is why you resist the healing also. You don't want to do healing for certain people. You don't want to do healing for certain things, because then you think, then you are motivated in the opposite direction, that why should I give this nasty person healing? They've been so bad to me, I won't give him the benefit of the healing. So you are actually acting in your own detriment. When you think so then he gets another chance. We had this case with Ajamil. Those who are negative to you have come up in your life. Ajamil the Brahmin was following very nicely, and then that negative receptivity aspect of because he met a prostitute in the forest one day when he was coming home. You need to understand. And then he ran off with her. He gave up his old parents. He gave up his wife and children. They died miserably, cursing him. And he lived with this prostitute. If you think about it, had a son. All the healing you're doing is, mera ye ho jaye, mera wo ho jaye, get this and give me this. And he named him Narayan. Don't make this happen, make this. And then at the point of death, when he was around 80 years old, or maybe he had the son around 80, make me a billionaire. So when he was dying, there was nobody at home except Narayan, his son, 5-year-old son, playing in the Yangan. And the Yamduts then you get the idea that I can do any darn thing. And so he got so frightened, he just yelled for his son, Narayan, and healing, and it will be all right. Immediately the Vishnu Doots, a very big offense. And they stopped the Yamduts. You cannot take this, because if you're not prepared to change your ways, because this man chanted the name of the Lord. One is that you must know at this time, at this what are your limitations. So he's no more your case. So they said, but he was calling his son. He said, no matter he was calling his son, but he said it in a pure second thing frame of consciousness. You must be committed to your work and so dedicated in that to pure doing things frame honestly. Of consciousness, he uttered the name of the divine purely. Right. And the third thing is that you must not act out of your intoxicated your ego condition. So that's the example of Ajamil. So when you're talking about 80 years old, and you must be prepared to change your ways. And if you're not doing any of that, and you're skipping those first three of introspection, of rectifying yourself, casually, of being dedicated in your work, we are motivated, and you're just working if with, you know, I can just say healing and I can do anything and I won't get the result because healing will take care of it. It is that what the healing will do is let you do you are till you come to a point where you will everything that you worked for throughout the day, because your most of your activities are, and whether you learn this lesson in this life or you don't learn social, you have another life meeting or profession or occupation invented. So it's not that on the basis of the strength of receding to the background, you're using that as a tool really to progress. On the strength of thinking about where healing is ultimately going to get you. Basis of doing healing or having a healing, and that is why you resist the healing also. You don't want to do healing for certain people. You can cheat, you can do fraud, because then you think you do all kinds of motivated in the opposite direction. That why should I cheating and because you're a healer, you'll get away with. You will never get so bad, because remember, give him the benefit of there is a person who is more qualified will get a bigger whack when you think like that. So if you think you're highly qualified as a healer and you're committing some offense and you're knowingly in your life or in your consciousness, and it's not that you're helpless healing, so that that you have choices and you choose to exercise the option of cheating and fraud and so on. You need to understand that no matter what happens. It may look like you're getting success. You must know what you're capable of doing. If you think about it, all the healing you can't make assumptions. Give me that. Don't figure out what is your capability. Who can you depend upon? Can you all that sort of thing? Can you depend on somebody else? So make me. And for how long? If you are making a whole plan, give me this, give me depending on other people who can just pull out at any time, you just end up. Then you get the idea that I can do any darn thing I feel like. I can cheat and I can commit fraud and I will send healing and it will be all right. Now that is a very you committed the offense. Because if you're not prepared to change your ways, there are three things that are to some extent. One is that you must healers do it all the time, either from what are your limitations perspective, what are your talents, what are your I wouldn't say all the time, but sometimes occasionally, sometimes frequently, and some people. The second thing is that you must be committed to your work and dedicated to doing things honestly.
You've been listening to a discussion with
third
Nalan
thing is that you must not
on
act out of your intoxicated
www.gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
So and you must be prepared to change your ways. And if you are not doing any of that, and you're skipping those first three of introspection, of rectifying yourself, of being dedicated in your work, and you're just working with, I can just send healing and I can do anything and I won't get the result because healing will take care of it. No. What the healing will do is let you do it. Till you come to a point where everything that you've worked for will be destroyed. Overnight. And whether you learn this lesson in this life or you don't learn it, you have another life waiting for you. So it's not that on the basis or the strength of cheating you will take liberties and do some, on the strength of healing. It's not that on the basis of doing healing or having a healing connection that you can just break the law. That you can cheat, you can do fraud, you can do all kinds of make plans for, cheating and because you're a healer you'll get away with. You will never get away, because remember, there is a person who is more qualified will get a bigger whack. So if you think you're highly qualified as a healer and you're committing some offense and you're knowingly doing it, and it's not that you're helpless, you see. You have choices and you choose to exercise the option of cheating and fraud and so on. Killed, you'll be finished no matter what happens. It may look like you're getting success. You must know what you're capable of doing also. You can't make assumptions, मैं ये कर लूँगा, वो कर लूँगा, हम ये कर लेंगे. कौन करेगा? Figure out what is your capability. Who can you depend upon? Can you depend on yourself? Can you depend on somebody else? And for how long? If you are making a whole plan depending on other people who can just pull out at any time, you'll just end up spending the money and time and investment, and that's the end of the story for you. Then you will say, healing let me down, masters let me down. But actually you committed the offense. So this is something you need to be very, very careful about. And to some extent, healers do it all the time, either from a little perspective or from a large one. I wouldn't say all the time, but sometimes occasionally, sometimes frequently, and some people are habituated.
You've been listening to a discussion with Nala Narula on www.gettingpositivekarmanow.com.